Hello everyone, and welcome to Changeling Gaming! Today I'm going to be teaching you how to play the expansions and Marvel variant of Splendor. The Splendor expansions are level 1 pick up and play and level 2 pick up and play expansions to the base game, and the Marvel variant is a level 1 play to learn game, all designed by Marc-André for 2 to 4 players that all take on average 30 to 45 minutes to play. If you want to learn how we determine the level for this game, you can find that video for free on our Patreon page, link in the description to join the community. In the Splendor Cities expansions, we play as gem collectors and jewelry crafters aiming to boost our prestige through collecting and showcasing the splendor of our gemstones. In Marvel Splendor, we take on the role of Earth's heroes and villains, trying to find and capture the 6 Infinity Stones before anyone else to remake the galaxy our way. The Splendor expansions and Marvel version are expansions or modifications of the base game of Splendor, which you can learn how to play here. Each of the expansions in the Cities of Splendor expansion are designed to be played separately from each other. City expansion. To play the Cities expansion, do not set up any noble tiles. The noble tiles will be replaced with 3 randomly selected city tiles, each of which are double-sided. Unlike with nobles, the number of players does not affect the number of cities. However, the city tiles do operate similarly to the noble tiles. They have gemstone requirements that must be met to acquire them, and you automatically claim them just like with noble tiles. What is different, though, is that in addition to the gem card counts, a player will also need the number of prestige points in the top right to acquire the city. And acquiring cities is important because the whole goal of this expansion is to be the first player to collect a city, which marks the end of the game at the end of the current round. A player can only claim a single city, and if multiple cities are claimed in the same round, the player with the most prestige points breaks the tie and wins. Strongholds Expansion. In the Strongholds expansion, every player gains several stronghold pieces which have a couple of interesting properties that alter the gameplay. Set up exactly like for the base game, but every player also selects one of 4 colors and gains the 3 stronghold pieces of that color. The strongholds come into play every time a player purchases a gem card, either that they've reserved or that is still on the table, allowing the player to either place one of their strongholds or remove another player's stronghold. A stronghold can only be placed or moved to a card that does not have any other player's stronghold on it. Removed strongholds are returned to their owner. A player must take one of those 2 actions, and it must be before the card is replaced. A card with a stronghold on it can only be purchased or reserved by the player who owns that stronghold. When they take either of those actions, they take back their stronghold. And if a player has 3 strongholds on a single card, even if they just added a 3rd to it, then they can immediately purchase that card as a free action so long as they can pay for it as normal. They take back their strongholds and can immediately place or remove a stronghold since they just purchased another card. This free purchase occurs before checking a player's token count and before checking if a noble's conditions are met. The goal is the same as the base game, the first to 15 prestige points. Trading Post Expansion. In the Trading Post expansion, when players achieve preset gem card combinations, they get additional bonuses based on which prerequisites they've accomplished. When setting up for this expansion, add the Route to the Orient tile to the setup. Every player also selects one of the 4 sets of 5 coat of arms tokens and takes all of them. There are 5 sections to the Route to the Orient tile. Each has a gem card requirement and a corresponding power or prestige point bonus. At the end of a player's turn, if they meet the requirements for one or more of the sections, they can add their coat of arms token to that section. From left to right, the first section requires 3 red gem bonuses and 1 white gem bonus, and the benefit is that on all future turns, whenever that player buys a gem card, they gain a gem token. The second section requires 2 white gem bonuses, and the benefit is that whenever that player takes the gain 2 gem tokens of the same color action, they can take a 3rd gem token of a different color from the double being taken. The third section requires 3 blue gem bonuses and 1 black gem bonus, and the benefit is that whenever that player spends a gold token, it is worth 2 gems of a single color. The fourth section requires 5 green gem bonuses and an acquired noble tile, and the benefit is that the player has an additional 5 prestige points. The The fifth section requires 3 black gem bonuses and grants a prestige point for every coat of arms on the route to the Orient board, including this one. The goal is the same as the base game, the first to 15 prestige points. The Orient Expansion. In the Orient Expansion, an additional collection of cards are added that have their own potent bonuses and powers to help players win. Complete the base game setup as normal, and then divide the red-backed Orient cards based on the number of dots along the bottom. Shuffle each stack and place the decks in line with the main deck piles, matching the number of dots. Flip the first 2 cards from each deck face up. The Orient Expansion cards can be purchased and reserved just like any other gem cards. However, the cards do have a number of new effects that occur when they are purchased. Cards with these 2 gold tokens can be expended as if they were a pair of gold tokens, being returned to the box upon being used. It can only be used in a single transaction, though the gold can replace the same or different colors. Cards with this bag symbol must be paired immediately with another previously purchased gem card, effectively becoming an additional gem card of that color. As a result, these cards cannot be purchased until a player has another gem card it can be paired with, and once paired, it cannot be swapped. These cards with the bag and this symbol work the same as the previous version with the bag, but the second symbol means that when this card is purchased, the player who purchased it can immediately acquire any of the face-up level 1 cards from either the base game or the Orient Expansion at no cost. Some of the cards have multiple gems in the gem bonus line, and these are worth the number of gems visible in this line. Also worth noting is that nobles care about the number of these gems and not the number of individual cards. So, this combination of gem cards is sufficient for this noble. There are also cards with this symbol here, which means that player gets to reserve one of the nobles. The player takes the noble tile of their choice and places it face down in front of them. They're now the only player that noble will visit once their requirements are met. Note that this reserve does not come with a gold token, and there is no limit to the number of nobles a player can reserve. Similarly to the previous version of this symbol, this version with 2 dots also lets the player who bought it acquire a card at no cost, but this time from the second row of either the base game or the Orient Expansion. Finally, there are some cards that have these symbols in the cost portion of the card. To pay these costs, gem card bonuses must be discarded that match the type listed in the cost. If possible, discard one of the cards with a bag first, and note that double gem cards count for 2 cards. The goal is the same as the base game, the first to 15 prestige points. Splendor Marvel. The Marvel version of Splendor plays very similarly to the base game with largely cosmetic changes, but the overall goals have also been shifted slightly to accommodate the race for the 6 Infinity Stones. There are the same 3 tiers of cards, now represented by Marvel heroes and villains. The 5 original gems are now 5 of the 6 Infinity Stones: Mind, Power, Reality, Soul, and Space. These can be acquired in the same way as the base game. Instead of gold, players receive a gray shield token when they reserve a character, and those gray shield tokens are similarly wild and can be used as any color token. Instead of nobles, players can collect locations from the Marvel Universe when they obtain the correct collection of stone bonuses from character cards. In addition, only set out a number of locations that match the number of players, and note that the tiles are double-sided. Now for what's different about the game. In order to win, players must acquire a stone card bonus of every color, a green time stone token, and 16 points. In addition, there's an Avengers Assemble card that moves around and is worth extra points. Players can gain their time stone token by acquiring a character from the 3rd tier, all of whom have this symbol at the top, indicating the player takes the green time stone token now. It is worth noting that the green token does count against a player's limit of 10 tokens, but cannot be used, and each player only ever receives 1 time stone token. The Avengers Assemble card first goes to whoever acquires heroes with a total of 3 of the Avengers A symbols at the top. If another player ever collects more of these symbols, then the card transfers ownership, but on a tie, the card remains with the current owner. So go out and collect the gems of your choice to spread the word of your splendor and prove your superiority over all your opponents. Be sure to support your local game stores. For us, that is Board Game To Go. who offer over 2,000 games for rental within the Toronto area and many games for purchase. If you're curious about this game, check out the link in the description. And be sure to check out our Patreon, linked there as well, for all of our reviews and additional exclusive content. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to pose them in the comments below, or take a look to see if someone else has already answered it down there, and be sure to thank them if they have. If you want to learn more about what a ranking system means, check out this video here. And if you want to learn how to play more games, check out our playlist here. And subscribe to learn when new videos come out. And remember, keep changing, keep gaming, have fun.